Welcome to the AMRC HR Benchmarking Report on UK medical research sector. I'm Carol Bewick, and leading the webinar today is Dr. Jocelyn LeBlanc. For those of you who are listening, you can ask questions at any point during the webinar, and we'll try to answer as many as we can at the end. If you look at the right-hand side of the screen, there should be a box which says questions. If you put your questions in there, then we'll get them, and if we don't get around to answering them, we'll try to answer them for you later. The webinar will be recorded, so you'll be able to go back and check up on it later. Jocelyn.
Hi everyone, thank you for listening today. So this webinar is intended to give you some background about this project and give you some insights into the data in the report. So, I'm going to go on to the next slide. Sorry, it's just freezing for a minute. It's just the slides aren't advancing. 1 second.
While Jocelyn has a frozen screen, I should probably say, if you also have any problems during the presentation with audio or with syncing, do put something in the questions box and we'll see what we can do at this end. Jocelyn, sorry.
Now it is unfrozen, so thank you, Carol. So first I'll tell you a bit about why we decided to do the survey in the report, and then I'll talk about who participated so that you'll have a good sense of the range of different charities whose data is represented in the report. I'll touch on some overall trends and then dive into some of the data that is included in the report. And at the end, we'll have some time for questions. So let's start with some background about the survey. So as a membership organization, we often get queries from our members about different information that they would find useful. A common question that we had was if there was any benchmarking data on things like salary or other HR matters. And people were saying that they felt that any data out there that was already out there was not relevant enough for them and that they'd prefer to benchmark against more similar organizations. In addition, our newly formed HR advisory group, which first convened in October of last year, also felt that this was a high priority. And that group has an HR representative from approximately 10 different charities. So we're a small team at AMRC, and this is not traditionally something that we would cover, but we felt that because our members were indicating to us that it was a priority, that we would give it a go. So with the help of the HR advisory group, we designed a question of approximately 50 questions that covered a wide range of HR-related topics. The survey was distributed to member CEOs on the 11th of April and closed on the 23rd of May. And so the overall purpose was, one, to provide HR benchmarking data for AMRC members, but two, also to identify key challenges and topics that we could address with further work. And then finally, to build a wider HR network within the AMRC membership. So this shows you at a glance the different charities that completed the survey. From this, you can see the range of different types of charities represented in the report. There are charities who specialized in cancer, child health, mental health, diabetes, and so on. And there are also very large charities and very small charities and everything in between. So it gives you a nice snapshot of the sector. And here are some basic stats about the charities who participated. So we had a total of 48 charities to complete the survey, which represents 1/3 of our membership. And we were really pleased to have such good engagement with something that was a new endeavor for us. We stated in the survey invitation that completing the survey would guarantee the charity a complimentary copy of the report, and we think that this helped incentivize participation. 7 additional charities also noted that this survey was not applicable to them because they don't employ any paid staff. On average, respondents completed the survey in about 20 minutes, and almost 30% of the respondents were charity CEOs. 2/3 of the participating charities were located in the Greater London region. And as I said, participating charities were evenly distributed across a wide range of total charitable spend, as well as disease and health areas. So this shows you the range in charity size based on the number of full-time equivalent employees. The number on the top of each column indicates the number of charities in that size bracket. And these size brackets, so very small, 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 medium, medium, large, large, and very large, are used throughout the report to sort the data by charity size, as this often impacts HR practices, as you might imagine. And the majority of charities actually ended up in the small medium bracket, so having 10 to 49 employees, and approximately equal numbers in the other brackets. So now that we've covered whose data is included in the report, we can move on to the results. So this is an infographic that we designed to accompany the report. It's on our website. You can see the link at the bottom of the slide here, and it's available to anyone. And so it gives you a snapshot of some of the major trends that we saw in the data. Across the top, we have average salary by role, and then we have some interesting trends. So for example, 96% of charities offer flexible working opportunities like working from home or working part-time. And this seems to be a strength of the charity sector. Some key challenges that our members identified were very consistent and included retention, recruitment, and improving culture and staff morale. And finally, in this infographic, we note some opportunities for learning and development in the sector. So for example, 77% of charities said that they struggle most to recruit fundraisers. So this could be an interesting area to pursue in future work for us. So the full report, which shows the results from all the questions, and that's approximately 50 of them, is in a digital format. Access to the full report has been sent to all charities who completed the survey. And if you did not participate, or if you are not from a member charity, you can request a copy of the full report through Leonora Neal. And so I'll provide her email at the end of this presentation. The report is organized into these pages shown in the menu across the top of the homepage. We have an introduction, a section with information about the participants, a section explaining how to use the report, and an explore the results section. And that contains all of the data organized by topic. Here you can see how the data is organized. So the survey questions and their corresponding data are grouped into broad themes. And what I'll do next is to show you results from 1 or 2 questions for each topic. And this will give you a sense of how the data is presented and what type of analysis you can expect throughout the report. The first section is called Staff Numbers and Retention, and there are 7 questions in this section. One of these questions is, on average, how long do staff members stay at your organization? So this question is about retention. And because we thought charity size might have an impact, we sorted the answers based on size brackets I showed you before. So here's the results. Interestingly, you can see that there isn't a real clear effect of charity size. However, it was only very small charities that had staff typically stay for 12 to 18 months, which was the sort of shortest amount of time. And only small medium charities reported having staff members typically stay for more than 5 years. But other than that, it was sort of distributed between the different options that they could choose from. The next section is about salary and reward, and this has the most questions of any section, 9 in all. One of the questions was, do you consider an annual pay increase for employees? And almost all charities report that they consider an annual pay increase for all or some employees. And here I'm showing you the information that was in the infographic, which is the overall average salary by role. And in the full report, there are tables showing the average, minimum, and maximum salaries by role and for each charity size. This section is about benefits and flexible working opportunities, and there are 4 questions in this section. And here you can see the summary to what benefits do you offer employees, and the people taking the survey could pick any that applied to their charity. And so here you can see that some of the most commonly offered benefits include childcare vouchers, season ticket loans, employee assistance program, and some of the least common are gym memberships, disability insurance, and additional holiday entitlement. In the full report, there's also a table that breaks down what percentage of charities in each size bracket offer each type of benefit. And there's the same format to display the flexible working opportunities that charities offer. This section is about leave policies, and there are 5 questions in this section. And here you can see the responses to, do you offer more than the statutory requirement for maternity leave? And we also broke this answer down by charity size, and this is displayed in a table format. And this is where you can see a clear trend of smaller charities usually not offering more than the statutory requirement, whereas larger charities more often do. And so we have this equivalent data for paternity leave, shared parental leave, and sick pay as well. For recruitment, we have 4 questions about this, and here you can see which functions charities reported struggling to recruit suitable people for. So this is actually quite surprising to us. It was really consistent across all charity sizes, where fundraising was the most difficult function to recruit people to. We had 6 questions on employee training and relations. We asked about probation periods, and then we asked if passing this probation period was tied to eligibility for any enhanced benefits. And so they could say yes or no, and that's the answer there. And then it was an open text response, so if they said yes, we asked them to describe briefly. And so here's a summary of those most commonly indicated things, so season ticket loans, pension scheme enrollment. And then there was some of the other responses are listed here as well. So in total, you get a really good sense of the responses to this question in all these different formats. We asked several questions related to diversity and inclusion, so 4 questions in total, and one of those was about gender pay gap data, so it included a number of sub-questions. But here you can see the answers to: do you gather and analyze data on diversity and inclusion? So this is the answer here. And then we also asked, do you run diversity and inclusion trainings, such as unconscious bias training? So you can see the answers here. So immediately from this, it's apparent that this is an opportunity for learning and development and could inspire future workshops where those who are doing things that can share insights with those who are not yet doing things but would like to and aren't quite sure where to start. This section is on HR management, and there's 4 questions here. Here you can see that who manages HR matters really depends on the size of the charity. So smaller charities either outsource this work or it's done by the CEO or an office manager, basically people wearing many hats. And at larger charities, it's typically done by HR professionals or finance directors. And in this section about top HR challenges, there was one simple question, which was, what do you see as your one biggest HR challenge for the next 12 months? And this was an open answer question, so respondents could write what they wished. And not all charities answered this question, and those that did often gave more than one answer. But here's the results summarized. And so you can see that recruitment, retention, and staff morale were the top most popular answers. And actually, 57% of responding charities either said retention, recruitment, or both. So these were really quite clearly the biggest struggles in the sector. So thank you for listening. I hope you found this useful. We have some time for questions now. And as we said, if we don't answer your question at the moment now, then please get in touch by email, or we can send you an answer by email. And if you'd like to access the full report, you can email Leo, and her email's here with the name of your organization. And if your charity participated, she can send you the link, and if not, she can send you instructions about how to pay the small fee. And then I just want to say that if you do find this benchmarking data useful, we'd love to hear about it. Since this is the first time that we've done this project, we'd really like to hear how you use the data.
Thank you, Jocelyn. I don't know why I've changed your sex there for a moment. And thank you, everybody, for sending in questions. There have been a few coming through. Let me see. The first one is, will this be done again? And if so, when?
We would love to do this again. And I think that's why it makes it really important to let us know if you're using the data and if you find it valuable. And we hope that we could do this again perhaps next year, and that we'll get even more charities to participate, because this type of data is better the more people participate and the more accurate the sector is represented.
We should also probably at this point say a big thank you to the RSA group who gave us a donation towards doing this work, and without them, I'm not quite sure how we could quite have managed it. So Jocelyn, do you see any effect of region on things like salary? I know you mentioned that most of the charities who completed the survey were in London, but I was curious if you were able to look any deeper into that.
Yeah, that's an interesting question, and one that I had hoped to investigate. But unfortunately, because there's only a few charities based in each of the regions in the UK, we couldn't really look at that in detail with the data set that we have. Perhaps if we do this again and we get better engagement throughout the entire UK, we could look at that a little bit better. And yeah, I'm sure that non-London charities would find it really useful to kind of benchmark against organizations in their own region, but we'll just have to see if we can do that going forward.
Did you ask any questions about bonuses? I think I can see where this person's coming from.
Yes, we did ask the question, do you award bonuses? And the majority, I think it was over 75%, said no, they don't. So it's not a very common practice among our members. So that could be kind of useful information if charities want to set themselves apart in the kind of packages that they offer.
The digital format is great for many people, but some it's not quite so good for. So would it be possible, if people can't access that, to get a hard copy?
Yes. So once again, you can email Leo. Her email's on the slide, and she has a PDF that's prepared, so she can send that to you. And yeah.
Okay, I think that's probably all the questions we have time for. So thank you very much, Jocelyn, and thank you for everybody for listening.
Thank you.